Hi, I'm Matt Bergman. I'm the founder of the Social Media Victims Law Center. Welcome to the Social Media Justice Podcast. On this show, we dive into the legal, social, and emotional impact of social media on kids and teens, and what we can do as citizens and parents to hold tech companies accountable. Whether we're talking to experts, sharing real stories, or unpacking the latest legal developments, our goal is simple: to expose the harm, demand accountability, and fight for change. Thanks for being here. Let's get started.
And now, the Social Media Justice Podcast with your host, Matthew Bergman.
Can't Look Away is a documentary film produced by Bloomberg about Social Media Victims Law Center and the work that we've been doing over the last 2 years to hold social media companies accountable for the harms that they're inflicting on young people in the United States. It's a behind-the-scenes look, the good, the bad, and the ugly of how we have struggled over the years to bring our cases forward, how we've handled defeat, how we've experienced victory, and how we continue to work with parents to try to secure some measure of justice for the harms that social media platforms are doing to their kids. We took a long time to get around to the point when we felt comfortable letting cameras come in and film us, film our clients, film our deliberations. We felt that the backstory needed to be told as well. We were the first firm in the country to bring product liability cases in court to hold social media companies accountable and to try to get around the immunity that they'd been enjoying for all too long. The reporters from Bloomberg thought they wanted to kind of look behind the scenes. It took a lot for us. I'd never done that before, but I do feel that the work is so important. We wanted to record for posterity how this process is continuing to unfold. It was a tough decision, but it shows us for what we are, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Well, when I first started representing families who had lost children from social media, we got inquiries from the media asking would our clients be willing to be interviewed. And my default reaction was, of course not. They have no desire to share anything about this horrific loss. But in many cases, parents felt empowered. They felt that they wanted to tell their story. They wanted the world to hear their truth. They are so singularly committed toward preventing other families from suffering the same fate that befell their children. They have, in many cases, been willing to come forward, tell their stories not only in the court of law, but in the court of public opinion. It's deeply humbling for me to be representing families. I've never, in 30 years of law practice, represented clients deeply motivated for justice as these families. These families don't care about the money. For them, it's all about justice and accountability. And for me as a lawyer, it's like the dream of 30 years to be representing them. Well, first and foremost, I hope that parents will look at this movie and realize the clear and present danger that social media poses, mental health and the physical safety of their kids. Realize that this is not something that they can handle with benign neglect, have to be proactive in monitoring what their kids are doing online, protecting their kids from online abuse, having the kind of relationship and dialogue with their kids where they can find out when they are experiencing untoward things and help them resolve it. That is our first and foremost hope. Secondly, we want to be able to show how arc of history tilts toward justice, how just a few committed parents can take on the most wealthy and powerful companies in the world and achieve some small measure of justice in so doing. Bravery of these parents is unfathomable. The odds that they face are daunting, but the commitment that they have keeps them going. So I'm hopeful that when people see this movie, they'll see that people can make a difference, that it doesn't matter if you're David and you're up against Goliath, if right is on your side, and if you're committed to the fight, you can achieve justice. We will win or lose in the court of law, not in the court of public opinion. The strength of our arguments, the strength of our evidence, strength of our legal merits of our claim will be to determine whether we succeed or not. So I don't believe that this documentary will impact what goes on inside the courtroom. What I do believe it will do is raise awareness among parents of how dangerous social media is to their kids, and the need to hold social media companies accountable in the legislative process as well as the legal process. So inspiring to see parents who have suffered the worst loss imaginable take that loss and use it for a force for good to protect other parents and other families. The courage of these families is so well documented in the film. 38 weeks a year is on the road, lecturing high school groups and community groups and political leaders on the risks of fentanyl contamination of drugs sold online. Works tirelessly with law enforcement to highlight the need for stricter regulation of Snapchat and its drug dealing propensities. The Roberts family, the DeSerio family have made countless trips to Washington to petition for grievance, if you would, highlighting the need for congressional action to try to protect their kids. This is really well depicted in the film and really is testimony to how out of sadness can come good, out of horror can come some balm of rectification. And you see this in these families, and it is utterly inspiring and fulfilling. I'm a lawyer privileged to represent them in this struggle, even though we know it's going to be tough and we may or may not win. We've heard many responses from parents saying, can we show this to our PTA meeting? Can we show this in our church or our synagogue? Can we show this to the community? There's a lot of interest by parents in sharing this film as a way to illustrate the clear and present danger of social media. We've heard from advocacy groups for children urging more and more showings of this film, really to illustrate the need for public policy advocates to get involved and to get engaged and to try to enact legislation at the state and the federal level to protect kids from online harms. We've seen actions in Congress, we've seen words from Congress, and we've seen many, many positive responses throughout the legal community. And we're gratified by that. We have said from the beginning, if one child is saved through the work that we're doing, then everything is worthwhile. And we're hopeful that through the release of this film and the accompanying publicity, we will encourage parents to take actions when they might not have been aware of, and that we will indeed save lives. Well, Can't Look Away is testimony to the power of individuals to make a difference, be it parents who've suffered the worst harm imaginable, showing resolution and courage to take on big companies, be it a scrappy little law firm with just a few lawyers and not much of money, taking on big tech, be it advocates in Congress going to speak to congressional leaders. It really is testimony to how we can make a difference in this world. How if you're committed and you believe in your cause and are willing to put in the work, willing to take the risk of loss, you can really make a difference in this society. And it really, we're in a very divisive time right now. But you really see in the process, in the film, the majesty of the judicial process. Not that it's geared toward one side or the other, but that it provides a forum, provides an avenue for people to petition for relief, to seek justice, and to have equality in the eyes of the law in front of the biggest and most powerful companies in the world. Doesn't mean we're going to win, but it means that there really is a majesty to our judicial process and a dignity, and that for everything that's wrong about what's going on in our court systems, there's so much that's going on that's right. And the fact that parents such as our clients have an opportunity to be heard, I think speaks volumes about what's right about our system and what's right about our government. After watching Can't Look Away, I would want parents to sit their kids down and find out what apps they're on to try to utilize whatever methods they can to monitor their kids' online activity, to develop a relationship of trust with their kids where their kids feel comfortable sharing untoward things that might be online. And parents need to realize that even within the four corners of their homes, their kids aren't safe, and that they need to really be very proactive and sometimes even mercurial, protecting their kids from these online harms that are so easily inflicted upon them. That to me is the most important takeaway from Can't Look Away. Thanks for listening to the Social Media Justice Podcast. At the Social Media Victims Law Center, we're committed to holding big tech companies accountable and protecting the health and safety of kids and teens online. If you found this episode valuable, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with others. Together, we can push for change and build for a safer digital world for our kids. Until next time, stay informed and stay strong.